This is the 3. This is the Cat Girl Film 4. Cat Girl Film Podcast 2. Cat Girl Film Podcast 2. Cat Girl Film Podcast 2. Cat Film Girl Podcast.
I really need to find new parts for you. I swear, these RAM prices are getting through the Yes, welcome back to Cat Girl Film Podcast, episode number
2.
Today we are talking about our number 40...
Second. 42nd?
42nd.
2!
Today we're talking about communism. We're going to the Soviet Union with Death of Stalin.
Mm-hmm.
And the other episode video number, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. My hair looks like ass.
That's how it always looks.
Yes, I know. Okay, so Death of Stalin, Bryce.
Yes. Just right into Death and Stalin. Death and Stalin.
Yep, Death and Stalin.
So, let's go ahead and lead off. This is very loosely based off of
yes, a historical event of Joseph Stalin, the dictator of the Soviet Union, his death, and the weird chaos that did happen. There was chaos after his death.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so, what can be said about Stalin?
So, quick historical background.
Yes, let's go for it.
Stalin, Joseph Stalin,
of Georgia.
Yes, Georgia. Was it Georgia proper? Or was it like Abkhazia, or just Georgia proper?
Georgia proper.
Georgia proper, okay.
Yes.
He was one of the assistants to Vladimir Lenin during the Bolshevik Revolution.
You can say that, yeah.
He was really just a mobster, though.
Generally speaking, Stalin, you could say, wasn't Lenin's right-hand man.
Oh, God, no. Definitely not.
I bet that's, the way to really describe it is, they have very similar ideals. They believed, they followed Marxism, but they, of course, with all Marxists, they have their own flavor that they'll give to it. So they generally agreed on some things, and they were, of course, Bolsheviks, because, different communist groups had different stuff. You had the Mensheviks, which is where Leon Trotsky came from, and then you also had Stalin and Lenin with the Bolsheviks.
Yep.
Lead the revolution in Russia at the end, around World War I, overthrow the Tsar, kill the Tsar.
And the family.
So, yeah, eventually Lenin is the leader of the Soviet Union for a few years until he has
a decade at most.
Yeah, for a decade at most. There were purges,
a
lot of purges, and then he dies, and eventually Stalin rises up through the ranks and becomes the leader or general secretary of the Soviet Union.
Which was his title because, if I recall correctly, Lenin was wanting to give him a title due to his work, but wasn't wanting to give him a super high-ranking one. So
there's a few bits of debate.
Yeah.
I mean, people will say there's a letter and stuff, but there really is no real proof of this letter that, hey, Lenin wanted Trotsky to be the leader of the Soviet Union. Because really and truly, it's I bet Stalin would have probably been the leader over Trotsky no matter what, because Stalin was a Bolshevik through and through. Meanwhile, Trotsky wasn't. Yeah. But it's history. There's a matter of debate.
It's also just a matter of who the F would have taken over anyways.
Yeah,
because it could have just been neither of them.
Yeah, it could have been neither of them. It's just that how things goes, it fell right into Stalin's lap pretty much right there.
Yeah, because during Lenin's rule, he had 2 different strokes. So
yeah, and he was just bedridden wheelchair bound for those last few years as leader of the Soviet Union.
So it's hard to say how much was Lenin's original decisions versus his impaired decisions.
Yes.
Because strokes will do that to you.
Yep.
And it's also just a question of how impaired he was, but regardless of everything, Stalin was given the secretariat.
Yep.
And he used that to basically gain power during Lenin's rule.
Yep. And then after Lenin died,
used that to gain genuine power.
Yep. And really interesting stuff during the 1930s. Because, he led a large amount of purges.
He led the Great Purges.
That is actually a misconception with Lenin, though. What happened is, people like to paint Lenin as, he was a saint and somewhat... No, he wasn't a saint. Stalin's well known for the purges and stuff, but Lenin definitely had his own purges.
Yeah.
But Stalin's
were called the Great Purges because he scaled them up significantly.
Yes.
Because Lenin had purges, Stalin had the Great Purges.
Yes, these purges lasted from late 1929 to generally, like most historians agree, it usually ended around World War II. Because
I think a little after.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
So, yes. Stalin had a whole cult of personality, and it was a whole big thing. Until eventually he dies.
Yep.
In 1950s. Well, hang on. Let me mention this first.
There's one thing that needs to be mentioned before he died.
What is it?
Because he was in power, and he had been in power for decades by this point.
2 decades, give or take.
Closer to 3.
Well, he really became leader of the Soviet Union around the 1930s.
Yeah, but he's in power. I'm talking about. He was he's been in power for 3 decades.
Somewhere around that,
yeah. And during that time, Stalin had built himself basically into a more situated station of power. Because Stalin wanted to make sure that he kept it. And to do that, he had built around him men that he trusted, quote unquote. AKA men that he personally believed were weak. Which is most evident. He's more of a side character in this movie, but I think is most evident if you look at real life records, which is Molotov. Molotov, I feel, is the best example of him just basically hiring people he personally thought were weak.
Yeah. Alright, so with that said...
Yes.
The whole movie starts with... Well, kind of starts with Stalin's death. And the chaos that eventually happened afterwards, which... Yes, that's actually true.
Yeah.
There was a whole big power struggle and vacuum within the Communist Party to figure out, okay, who's going to be the leader? Because there was a whole matter of debate on what to do about Stalin's image, for example, in which, if you know anything about history, we all know Khrushchev is the one that became the leader of the Soviet Union, and he led the de-Stalinization campaign.
Yep.
So, this movie, Death of Stalin, is a dark comedy.
Yep.
Satire of the death of Stalin. See what I did there? And the chaos that led afterwards. We shall start with the writing.
Yep.
Okay, so I have mentioned this before on the podcast where I am very mixed on this movie.
Yes.
For a number of things. Because I have done research into the Soviet Union and I tried to pull away from what I was taught here in the United States. Because it's obvious to, at least we can agree on this. How we are taught about the Soviet Union here in the United States, especially in high school, is not always exactly true of what was actually happening within the Soviet Union walls. So I try to at least peel back and actually, like say for example, like say for this fall of the Soviet Union, here in the United States we always like to say it was Reagan that caused... it's like, no, that's not true. Like,
he didn't even do anything for the fall of the Berlin Wall. He did nothing.
He wasn't even president at that time. No. Generally speaking, try to look within your own, try to look within, say, the country and stuff. And even the USSR, during, the late 80s, they actually did some pretty solid historical work into seeing what the 1940s and 50s was like for the Soviet Union. And it was actually interesting. I got to figure out what the name of the book was again, but it was a very interesting book to read of, a quasi-revisionist history of the USSR, in a sense.
Yeah.
Now, I know this is a comedy. I know what they're trying to go for. There were times that I did laugh at parts. It does not do much for me when I actually look at what they're trying to portray in the story. So, let me start off with some of the good. I do like some of the characterization for some of the officials in the movie, for example. For example, the main military guy, what was his name?
Georgy Zhukov.
Yep, Zhukov. There was one thing I will disagree about. He has a very prominent mark on his face, which when I looked at pictures of him all over,
he doesn't have that mark.
Yeah, he doesn't have that mark. But I was actually really happy that they did show, this dude had a shit ton of medals.
Yeah.
But to be fair, if you look at the list of battles that he was involved with, Stalingrad, Leningrad...
I would argue he is I would argue he is one of the best military commanders in history.
Yep. Shoot, he was in Kursk.
Yeah.
Dude.
He led the largest tank battle in history.
I'd give anything to see a movie on the Battle of Kursk.
Yeah, like...
That battle,
he's a genuinely very interesting person.
Yep. And let's see, I guess this was tied to acting, but I was still weirded out by thinking that Steve Buscemi is the one that's portraying Khrushchev. It's so weird to me. I don't get it. And I mean, like, the main villain character who plays Beria, I thought he was Khrushchev for whenever I first saw this movie. I was like, wait, wouldn't it make sense?
Yeah, physically,
I was thinking, like, this makes no sense.
Yeah, physically, they should be switched.
Yes.
However, I understand casting-wise why they did that.
Yes. And let's see here. I did like how they portrayed, for example, like, Stalin's son. Mm-hmm. He was very much an alcoholic. That is very true. And then there's just some general, like, how is like the portrayal of the Soviet Union and how much they love their departments or bureaucracy. Yeah, that's true. That is very, very true. I wish I could find the chart, but there's a chart that I've used before when talking about the Soviet Union, where you had the very center, which is the USSR and the General Secretary, and all these big departments. Like, one of them was like literally the Department of Jokes. Like, you could translate it as that, for example. But yeah, I do love that part. So, what do you have to say for writing before I have
a few notable things, but two things I'm going to lead off with. Okay. Number one thing you need to know immediately is they play heavily with the timeline.
Yes.
The timeline is heavily fudged with this.
Yes.
Because the time between, in the movie, the time between Khrushchev gaining power and Stalin dying, Stalin dying and Khrushchev gaining power, in the movie, it looks like a few days.
Yeah, which really...
In real life, it was a long period of time.
Yeah, which I can forgive that. That is not a problem for me. Like, for me, as a historian, when judging movies and stuff, you can get away with certain stuff like that, like taking creative liberties like that, because obviously, it's a movie. You gotta kind of condense it in a way if you're going to talk about a movie about a power struggle, which I get that. So, no complaints there. I'm fine with it, like, literally having to, quote-unquote, take place in the movie a couple of days, when really and truly, it was about a couple of months, really.
Yeah.
Because Beria's fall did not last. Like, Beria's reign as leader was really more so as a figurehead role. He really, really wasn't truly in power. But he was only the quote-unquote leader for just a couple of months, not even a full year.
And the last thing to note that I feel is very important, the characters in this movie are like Mel Brookian level caricatures of the actual people. Yes. These are not the actual people. These are Mel Brooks styled like caricatures that like they're almost unrecognizable from how ridiculous they are.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So that's the two things I need to lead off with.
Yeah.
Just to show you how much actual real history we're dealing with here.
Yes. However, there are points within historical fiction where I will draw the line on. Falsehoods. In which there are some falsehoods that I would say that could be actually damaging. For example, in the movie, towards the end of the movie, like the big blow-off of where Beria loses power is... when Stalin has these mourners coming into Moscow, there's like a whole bunch of people, and they're just trying to get to the mausoleum or wherever they're having the funeral at. The soldiers gun them down, and they say 1,500 people died.
Yeah,
that did
which is a passing line, by the way.
Yeah, well, no, that was like the main crux for Beria's fall. Like they thought, okay,
yeah, they show the gunning, but the figure they say is passing.
But also they treat that scene not as a comedy; they treat it very seriously. Within the movie. At least that's how I took it as. So, do you know where, like, the actual history behind that whole thing happened?
Yes, because I studied up on this because I know how much you have criticisms over this. And looking over this, yes, I am familiar with this. This didn't actually happen the way it's reported.
Yes,
so.
There was no documented case of something like this happening.
Yeah.
Beria's fall actually happened because of a couple of hundreds of people killed in an uprising in East Germany.
Yep. On
both sides.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the excuse that they made to give a trial to Beria. Which really and truly, if they really wanted to go after Beria, it was his pedophilia.
Yeah.
There's a good amount of evidence to point that, it was true.
I am fine with this exception because think of the alternative, what they had to do if they didn't do it this way. That we would have had to have cut out completely from the set, and we would have had to have shown pedophilia in the movie.
No. I would not say do that.
So I'm perfectly fine with this compromise to not have that.
I'm fine with that too. But really and truly, I would have said you could have at least gone with the actual reasoning that they did, which was East Germany's uprising.
This entire movie is set in Moscow, so we would have had to have gone to a completely different set. I feel they get the mood right.
I know.
The history is incorrect, but they get the mood right.
But it feels
it's just in the wrong place.
But it's just, generally speaking, it is like the scene where they're gunning down quote unquote 1,500 people is played so serious that it's like a very important part of the narrative of the story, and that's something as a historian that I cannot overlook.
As
personally.
A writer.
Yes.
The alternative is they can take the scene and set it in a completely different place, but then it becomes so removed from the plot that it becomes confusing. So I am fine with them moving the destination.
To be fair, though, the entire plot of the movie is very confusing. It's literally a power struggle where you have a bunch of moving characters and a bunch of moving pieces. But
I don't think the solution is making it more confusing.
Yeah,
it's already so confusing.
I know. I'm well aware.
So, personally, the shooting, yeah, it didn't happen. Yeah. But I think it's a good compromise.
I'm iffy on that because it does play into the narrative. So that's usually where I draw the line at. However, there is another part of the movie, though, that I'm not sure if I'm willing to forgive on. The whole thing about the purges and stuff. Because we, here in the United States, like to imagine that the USSR had those purges since Stalin, or Lenin, I guess. Really, Lenin started the purges, but of course, Stalin kicked it up a notch. And they made it seem like, oh, it happened all the way until he died. Not true.
So this is once again playing with the timeline again.
I know they're playing with the timeline. I'm well aware. But the purges stopped. The purges stopped, generally agreed upon, around World War II.
So, just so you can get a timeline, Barrier, who is the antagonist of the movie, essentially, he was the head of the NVKPD, I believe it was the initial. It was not the KGB. It was well before the KGB.
Yeah, like actually, that would be a criticism I would throw at them. But honestly, the whole thing with the KGB and the NKGB, it's like so confusing that it's like good luck figuring that out because what that whole field was, it was way before. I don't know. Yeah,
so this is...
It's a whole thing. It's like,
the initialization, I'm like, whatever. That's for a general audience. Call it the KGB. People know what the KGB are.
Yes.
I don't care.
Because what it originally was, it was not called the KGB.
Yeah, no, it was not called that. Barrier was never the head of the KGB at any point, ever.
No.
Because KGB only really was around by the time the Cold War was really escalating.
I know some historians that will say that is not a thing that they can look past, but honestly, for me, that shit's confusing. Even for a general audience, it's like, no, good luck with that.
So I'm fine with them symbolizing it to, it's the KGB. Whatever, I don't care.
Yes.
And the reason why I'm fine with the purges is this is another alternative thing. We need to show Barrier was in power during those great purges. Because he was in power during that period. And there's two ways they can really do that, in my opinion. They can either play with the timeline, which they did, or start the movie with a flashback. Both aren't great.
It depends. It very much depends. However, there is something about the purges, though. They're showing them comically all the time, especially in Moscow.
Yes.
Weirdly enough, not very common. I mean, say what you want about the Eastern Bloc, for example. Those were purges and stuff. Oh yeah, that is true. But within Moscow, the capital of the USSR, not really. I mean, that goes into the question of, are we willing to shoot out in, say, Eastern Europe? Or at least shoot in a different set? Which I get why they would probably shoot within Moscow, but I don't know. It just feels like it's playing into that whole Western propaganda type stuff that we have at the USSR.
This is just setting it in the place. I don't feel like it matters as much to a general audience. Because they could set it in a different place, but a general audience, they're like, why are we over here now? Why does this random place matter? It doesn't...
To be fair, they go all the way over to Serbia in the gulags where they were just shooting people thinking that Stalin was still in power, which...
Yeah, but that's a cutaway joke. So.
It's a cutaway joke, yes, but Gulags were not death camps. They were labor camps.
Yeah.
But they were not death camps.
Yeah. So, I personally...
And also, one other thing, I probably should mention this too, about with the USSR, because, like, it's played up a lot about, like, how, they killed a large amount of people. And they were saying, like, these purges and stuff, they were, like, kidnapping millions of people. If they kidnapped 1 million people per year, from the time of Stalin's reign to the ending of it...
Yeah, there wouldn't be any.
I was about to say, like, the system itself would collapse in on itself. Like, that is something, like... really playing it up there for last, and I sometimes wonder, do people actually know about the gulags and all these like purges and stuff that happened in the USSR?
So the reason why I'm also fine with the generally setting it in Moscow is the alternative is you get character teleportation, where there's going to be something happening, and it's either going to feel comically removed from the actual plot that it's going to confuse a general audience member, or you're going to have a main character teleport there.
Yeah.
Which is not great, so they made the compromise of just move it into Moscow.
Just so you know, these are actually my notes right here.
Yeah, I presumed.
Okay.
I didn't presume you were sitting here texting someone.
No!
Especially that paragraph.
No. Still, though, like, the whole thing, like, I know they're playing it up for last and whatnot, like, killing people and whatnot. Did you know that capital punishment was outlawed in the Soviet Union from the late 40s to the early 50s?
I'm surprised by that a little bit, yeah. Very
rarely did they ever execute people. But the only reason why they did is because of Stalin's anti-Semitism.
Yep.
He targeted certain prominent
which
Jewish
they reference
people.
in the movie.
Yeah, they do reference in the movie, which, hey, I'm good with. I do actually...
Because they reference, like, oh, we could have gotten those good Jewish doctors, but they're all dead now. We killed all the Jewish doctors.
Yeah, that is actually true. Like, Stalin believed that there was a big doctor's plot to get him killed. And one other little tidbit I did like, they got one major thing right that I really did laugh at. Stalin was a big fan of Westerns.
Oh, yep.
I don't know what it is about dictators, but yeah, a large amount of dictators, when you look in, like, dictators of that time period, a lot of them really loved Western movies.
So I have a running theory, actually.
Alright, what's the theory?
It's because of his background. He sees himself as the man wandering into a lawless land as the sheriff and taking control of it by shooting the bad guy.
Interesting.
I think it's that kind of thing. It gives him almost this kind of permission to what he has done. That he looks at it and he goes like, yeah, this movie's depicting him as the hero. That's basically what I did.
Makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah, that's my running theory as to why someone like him loved Western so much. Even though it's a deeply American thing.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
But, like, the one thing that actually I find the most inexcusable with the movie, actually, isn't what you actually tackled on.
What is it?
It is the actual how accurate some things are mixed in with the generalizations. Because there are things in this movie that you look at and go, this is another generalization. Because you look at the movie and you're like, this is dumb generalization. And then you look into it, it's like, wait, that was real?
Oh, yeah. Like, oh, no, there's a website from Michigan State University that's literally about the Soviet Union and all these funny things that you would not believe that actually happened.
Yeah. And which
yeah, I'm like, even for me, it was like, I already knew going into it, I was like, they're going to make generalizations about certain figures within the USSR, and it's like, sometimes it can be forgivable. I mean, if it's like really damning, like character assassination to the point where it's like ridiculous, like they're lying and stuff, then yeah, I'll have a problem with it. But honestly, for the most part, I know what they're doing, and it's like, most of the time it's okay. Like, I can give it a pass and whatnot. It's just some of the details of like the events and stuff feels like Western propaganda to me.
It doesn't to me.
I mean, maybe not for you, but for me as like a historian that's like, yes, I know it's fiction, yes, like this is a movie and all this other stuff, but sometimes it can be really damaging when you're trying to like actually learn more about like what this country was like at the time. Because like we're going in with a generalization of like, oh, the USSR, like if you were compliant, everything was going to be fine and peachy keen, when really and truly that really wasn't always the case. I mean, yeah, if you were in the bureaucracy and stuff, yeah, you could probably make that case.
So,
Lord, that's
the reason why I mention that is I have the opposite problem you do. Because I watch this and I'm going, this is like a caricature. None of this it's playing off what people actually think happens. Because it's so ridiculous and dumb. But then they sneak real things in, so you're like, oh, that didn't actually happen. Okay, this is being ridiculous. Wait, that actually did? What?
My question, though, is that are general audiences actually going to take the time to actually learn that?
Yeah, no, that's the problem I have, is they're looking at that, and they're never going to think that was real. Because no one's going to actually spend the effort to think that. Mm-hmm. They're going to see what's happening on screen and going, they're like
Because to be fair, not a large amount of audiences, besides those that are really into history, whether it's like the USSR and whatnot, they're not going to go out of their way to actually learn about it. Like, this will probably be their only real exposure to what happened. I mean, like, they're going to know probably, well, they'll probably be lucky. Like, that is true. Like, Stalin literally pissed his pants real bad when he died and stuff like that. And
which you wouldn't think was real based off the movie. Because everything's played as such a character, you're like, that's just a funny joke they threw in, that he urinated himself.
Yep.
Like, that probably didn't actually happen. Oh, wait, that did.
Yep.
Like, that's the actual problem I have. Because the general audience is going to go in, and they're not going to think any of this is real. Because it's such a farce. They're looking at this and being like, okay, they're just making fun of him. It's the same thing with Mel Brooks and how he treats Hitler.
Makes sense.
Like, you're going in, you're not being like, oh, this is how Hitler actually was. But they're mixing in that kind of thing where it's like, oh, wait, this is the actual thing Hitler did, though. Like, this is the actual thing Stalin did. Oh, wait, what? So it's like, that's where the actual problem I have comes up. But I don't think it is, I see it as an actual problem. I see it as when I'm watching it and going, oh, man, that's just too weird. That's so weird.
To me, I feel like they could have done a lot better job at it. But, other than that, we spent a lot of time on the writing.
Yes. Well, you really wanted to talk about the writing.
Yes,
so.
And that's my main crux of the movie. Everything else, on the other hand, don't really have much of an issue with for the most part. Acting, everybody does it pretty well.
Steve Buscemi is hilarious, as always.
Yep, he's always
Steve Buscemi is so funny.
Yep.
I did not grab the name of the actor who plays Zukov, but oh my god, he's so hilarious, too.
I did love the characterization for Zukov, though. Yeah. It actually fits right.
Yeah, it's a caricature,
like
it works.
I mean, going back to writing just for a second, there are periods where like they get the characterization right for some people, but not for everybody, and it's just like, commit to something. I mean, listen, either everybody gets to be a spoof of their selves, or generally speaking, try to follow along like the characterization. But
yeah, I think the worst one of them not following it all was The Pianist.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Because
she was based on a real woman.
She was based off a real woman, but it's not how that person was like at all. Yeah. So, but
all
like
around the acting though, pretty good.
Yeah. The only other one that I would say is a particularly standout is Stalin's son. Oh my god, they made him the best little crap in the universe.
I mean, to be fair, he was actually a piece of shit.
I always lose it at the scene where he's trying to steal the gun.
Oh, yeah. That is good.
Like, yeah, it's a caricature. It's caricatures of all these people. And they play it so funny. It's so ridiculous. To the point it's like, these can't be real. But, like, it is based loosely off some stuff.
Oh, boy. Right, let's see. Production.
So, that is a relatively well-produced movie. It had a pretty low budget, relatively. Yeah. Like, so, there's a reason why I'm also willing to forgive it not using multiple sets. Because it's like, they did not have the budget to film at a lot of places.
How much was the budget for this movie?
Not a lot. It also lost a lot of its budget because, fun fact, it's banned in Russia.
Yes, I know it's banned in Russia.
Which was where they were expecting their biggest market to be. Because they did most of their advertising in Russia before it got banned.
I do remember doing research with that whole thing with Russia, and it's like, it wasn't just like, oh, Putin wanting to ban it. No, they have their own department about like entertainment and stuff. We have that here too with the rating system. Like everybody wants to say, like, "Oh, we have total freedom. You can show whatever movie." It's like, no.
Yeah, there's 3 main restrictions to actual media, and the government tries to like actually look into that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because if I remember correctly, it's vulgarity, slander, and profanity.
Yeah, I think most of what they were talking about was slander.
Yeah.
In which I actually read through.
It's vulgarity, slander, threat. That's what it was.
I think theirs was mainly slander, though.
Yeah.
And I actually did read through some of it, and I was like thinking, I can kind of see it. To me, at least, I can kind of see it.
But notably, the movie for a brief time was allowed in Russia. For a brief time. And some theaters did show it before immediately having someone be arrested.
Yeah.
And during that time, it was well received in Russia.
Interesting.
So, like, it was very well received, actually. Especially by older civilians who lived during Stalin's age. That's the audience it tested best with. So, like, that's also why I'm very fine with it. It's like, people who lived during that are like, oh, this movie's amazing!
We'll have to look into that more sometime.
Yeah, look into it. It's very good.
Alright, let's see. Design.
Not much to say about design on this one.
I mean, other than Zhukov's whole attire and stuff, I mean, if it's right, I mean, if you've really seen a picture of Zhukov, he does have a shit ton of medals on his chest.
Outside of that, they didn't go through extraordinary effort to actually make people look like the actual ones.
No, I didn't really expect them to.
One thing I will say, because they did a funny job with this, they actually did a minor work with the accenting. Because if you notice, a lot of them have American and English accents, right?
Yes.
Did you notice they're actually in relation to where that person was from? Like, for example, Stalin's the only one with a Cockney accent because he's the only one from Georgia, which has a thicker accent.
Yes. I didn't really fully notice it so much. I mean,
It's very subtle.
I mean, I wasn't even going to dock them much for that because literally, what kind of well-known actors are you going to bring in that can pull off some kind of accent that was correct for the Soviet Union? Because, like, literally, they were a shit ton of different groups within there. Like, you had Azerbaijan, Georgia, Romania, and so on and so forth. So
not to mention all of Turkestan.
Oh yeah, all of Turkestan too. See, I was going to look past that, but other than that, design mostly fine.
Yeah,
it's just serviceable.
Like, yeah, they did some funny stuff with the accent. Like, once again, King Stalin a Cockney accent, which I just can't. I can't help but laugh at that. It's so ridiculous.
Yep. It's just not in the movie long enough.
Yeah, it's just, you can't really pick up on it because he only has like 5 lines. One of which is F as he dies.
Oh yeah, that's right. The classic last line of the Soviet dictator. Would you recommend this movie to people?
No.
Yeah, I honestly don't really either. It feels like a very specific audience to see this movie.
I effing love this movie so much. I cannot recommend this movie to many people. It is such... You need to really talk with someone about it beforehand. Being like, okay, well, listen, this is a farce of a movie. kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, same thing with me. I mean, most people that I know that talk about, like, do stuff with history and stuff, a lot of them really are not that very keen on this movie that much. They share similar sentiments that I do at times, but still, I just don't really see much appeal for much people with this movie. Like, general audience-wise, I don't really see it. I can see why it didn't do so well in the box office, for example, especially here in the States. So, yeah.
They were not expecting to really market, hence why also I don't think it's much Western propaganda, because they weren't really trying to Western market here in the U.S., so...
Yeah, maybe I can do more look into it and I can give you something. But either way, how would you rate this out of 10?
I still think it's a 10, personally. I love this movie. It has a lot of problems. It has so many problems, but I love it. 5. Yeah, I expected as much from you.
Yeah.
You're a stick in the mud, so I imagine as much.
Yes, I am a stick in the mud, but I also have taste. No, I'm kidding.
Yes, I hope you love the taste of mud.
How dare you. The mud tastes like chocolate. Speaking of chocolate, we are now moving on to our other movie for the day. The last one for the day. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory from the 1970s. I do not remember the exact year. What on earth are you pulling out of your pocket? Oh. Okay, so this is another movie that we have seen quite a few times, I think, actually, together.
Yeah.
Maybe twice or 3 times? We mentioned this a couple of episodes ago with Pulp Fiction, how we showed this movie to a friend of ours. I don't know if she actually did see this movie.
No, they did. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. But I do remember how you talked about how after you saw this movie and you went home and you told your dad on what movies y'all watched.
Yeah, my father was asking me, and it's like, what were you doing? And I was like, I watched the movie. And it's like, what'd you watch? And I was like, Pulp Fiction and Willy Wonka and Chocolate Factory. And he was very confused.
Yeah, he was like, say that again. And then
that's how he knew I was telling the truth, because he was like, there's no way you just randomly on those 2 movies. You had to have chosen those 2.
Yep. But yes, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. This is the not Tim Burton version. That one is called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So,
which I always felt was interesting because Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory focuses on Charlie, while Charlie and the Chocolate Factory focuses on Willy Wonka.
I know, right? I've always noticed that too.
It's very weird.
Yeah, it is very, very weird. But anyway, how often have you seen this movie before? Like, do you have any nostalgic factor?
No, not really. I watched it as a kid like 1 or 2 times.
Because literally, most people I know with this movie, like, this is myself included, like, when this movie came out, it didn't do so well in the box office.
Yeah.
But it gained new life in home movies.
Yep.
Home video releases. So that's how most people generally love this movie. So that would be myself as well. I had this on VHS, and I saw this copious amounts of times. And I still generally do love this movie. It does have some issues, but we'll get to that. Yes, this movie is an adaptation of a book by Roald Dahl.
Mm-hmm.
You can say a lot about Roald Dahl, honestly, if you know anything about him.
Wrote a lot of very notable pieces.
Yeah.
Because obviously Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, wrote the BFG, James and the Giant Peach.
Yep, The Witches. Fantastic Mr. Fox. We'll talk about that soon. Well, no, I was actually more hinting at, apparently he might have been an anti-Semite.
Yeah.
I have no idea for sure, though. There's so much debate on that, but yeah.
I have my own problems with Roald Dahl, so.
Yeah. Writing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is based off of a story. Generally speaking, this whole entire movie, it is about a chocolate factory headed by Willy Wonka. Sends out 5 golden tickets. 5 children find it, and they're all picked off one by one in this big tour of a chocolate factory.
Yep.
That's generally the synopsis of the story. I mean, most people kind of know it. I mean, this movie has also been parodied to no end.
Oh, yeah.
Especially the music.
Yep.
Most people will probably know about this movie because of the music. Because this is technically a musical in a lot of ways. I mean, like, you have the Candyman can, Pure Imagination, the Oompa Loompas song. Except for one song that nobody...
So you mentioned this.
Yes.
I pre-prepared a thing.
Oh, no.
So I have a quiz for you. Because this is one of your favorite little trivia facts to mention.
Yes.
That there is always one song in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory that everyone forgets.
Mm-hmm.
So...
This turned into a game show, guys. I'm sorry. This entire podcast turned into a game show. No longer Cat Girl Film Podcast. It is now Cat Girl Film Game Show.
Oh, man. I'm not saving you. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No. I'll have to save it for another time. Because I think you'll find it funny.
But, are you capable of naming every song in this movie in order?
Oh, shoot. Okay.
One moment, it's being dumb.
Okay. This one's going to be tough.
Yep.
Well, actually, I don't know if it'd be tough.
Okay. For some reason it got closed and it's not loading because we're in the boonies right now.
Yeah, you're welcome for that.
Come on, load it up. But yes, if you want to go ahead.
Okay, so first song is the Candyman song.
That is correct.
Alright, and then so the second song... It's not I Got a Golden Ticket. That's not it.
Nope.
Should be Cheer Up Charlie, actually.
That is correct.
Yeah, because that's the song everybody seems to forget. Like, always for me, I tune my brain off whenever I listen to it, or I pick up my phone and look at something. Next song is I Got a Golden Ticket.
That is correct.
Next song, I would say, is Pure Imagination.
That is correct. Vocalized one, because the other one is on the piano.
Yes. Then the next song would be the Oompa Loompa song, the first one.
Yep, which was?
Well, it should be about Augustus Gloop.
I'll give it to you.
Yeah, because, like...
Oompa Loompa Oompa Da Dee.
Huh?
Oompa Loompa Oompa Da Dee.
Yep. Alright, then the next song would be, again, an Oompa Loompa song. It should be. Unless, I wouldn't even call the tunnel scene a song, even though it does... No. It kind of has... No, it doesn't rhyme, actually. So the next
it's
one...
a poem, more like, so.
Yeah, poem, more or less. The next one would be another Oompa Loompa song.
Mm-hmm. Which is...
Oompa Loompa... Would it be Doopa Dee Da?
Nope.
I mean, it's Violet's song. I know that much.
It's Violets.
Yeah, but I just don't know the name of the title of it. That's the problem. It's like most of these songs, everybody just calls it. Everybody calls it the Oompa Loompa song.
Yeah, I'm fine with you just give me the kid's name. So
yeah, it's Violet. It was next,
mm-hmm.
and then the next song is. I wouldn't even say it's a song. Actually, it's just a sequence. It's them with the fizzy bubbling drinks or something like that. But it's just like a
not
big
really
orchestra song.
So.
Yeah. Next one would be what's her name? Veruca Salt's song.
I Want It Now.
Yep, I Want It Now. And then it would come the Oompa Loompa song for her.
Mm-hmm.
And then next one would be Mike TV.
Yep.
That's his song was next. And you just have another orchestral version of Pure Imagination to end this movie.
That's correct. You got them all.
Cool. So see how much I know about this movie? I've seen it so many times. I mean, other than that, though, like most of the music though is very iconic. I mean, people do know the Candyman song. Nobody knows "Cheer Up, Charlie." Some people might know "I Got a Golden Ticket."
Yeah.
"Pure Imagination." Some people might know as well, and of course, mostly everybody knows the Oompa Loompa song because that has been parodied.
I would say the Oompa Loompa ones are definitely kind of combined together. Those kind of like get a homogenate.
Yep.
While the rest of them, I would say the most recognizable is actually Golden Ticket. Outside of the Oompa Loompas. Oompa Loompas is number one.
Maybe I would say Candyman, because I have seen it.
No, I would definitely not say Candyman, no.
I have seen Candyman's song actually been sang before in random movies, believe it or not. But, yeah, so there's with the music. The writing, generally speaking, it's mostly okay. I mean, it's a very easy story to follow along.
It's Roald Dahl's. Like, it's a children's book.
It's just a standard child's
They don't follow the book one for one, but it's close enough.
Yeah, some people criticize it for that. I know Roald Dahl hates this movie to no end because they don't
he
follow.
did. He's dead now.
Yeah,
who cares?
Who cares?
Death of the author.
Yep. Other than that, like, the writing is mostly just fine. There's just nothing, like, there's nothing to write home about per se. It's just a standard kids movie to go off of. Next off is acting.
Yeah. Gene Wilder's very good, obviously.
Yeah.
It's an amazing actor. Children do bad to medium. It's
My TV's is probably, in my opinion, the worst.
Yeah. Veruca Salt's is probably the best, I would say.
Yeah, I would actually say so, because she really loves hamming it up a little bit.
Augustus Gloops is so forgettable.
Yeah, he doesn't really speak much at all.
Yeah. Actually, I would argue, like, going back to writing slightly, I do not like the character of Augustus Gloop. It's, like, the rest of them, I can understand them being like, okay, here's things not to do, kids. Like, Veronica Salt's is all about, like, oh, spoiled kids and, like, doing all that. Like, it's talking about, like, bad mentalities of kids. Augustus Gloop just eats. He's a mild-mannered kid. That's all he is. It's nothing notable about him.
I would say maybe gluttony is, like, the main thing. Like, he overeats and his parents don't stop him and stuff. Like, I've seen it before. Like, okay.
And it's not
I have a story, I guess.
But my main thing with it...
Yes, I know.
If they made the character more whiny about it... But he just kind of like, hey, stop eating, and then he does.
Well, to be fair, he does, like, eat from the chocolate river, and whenever Willy Wonka tells him to stop doing that, he keeps going and going until he falls in.
Yeah.
In which I guess maybe, but still, like...
That's the worst thing he did. That, like, they're condemning... He's the first condemned kid! The first one! It's all he does is, like, he's a young kid who sees a chocolate river and wants to eat from it? Yeah. He's condemned for that? Like, what? That's maddening!
I'm just thinking overconsumption is supposed to be his sin.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's supposed to be it, but it's like, they hardly play into it.
I don't know, like, the first thing that we are introduced to him, like, for example, he eats the head of the microphone.
No, that's his father.
No, oh, yeah, that is him. Dang, I forgot that it was his dad that did that.
Yeah, because they hold it over to the father, and it's like, and what do you think? Which is just kind of a cutaway joke. It's just like, okay. And we never see his father again.
Yep. Other than that, let's see, Charlie, he's fine.
Whatever.
Honestly, how about this? Like, I think he's like, the Charlie in this movie is a lot better than the Tim Burton one.
That's been so long since I watched the Tim Burton one. I cannot comment.
The best way I can describe it, he feels like a little Jesus kid. He's like a little goody two shoes, and it's like, come on. At least Charlie, he acts like a kid to an extent, far more than.
He's still a bit of goody two shoes. He's still a bit mixed in there.
yes, I know, but he has his own faults, I guess. Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to talk about characters that are really bad, like a Grandpa Joe.
Yep.
For people that don't know, there is a huge online community, especially way back in the early years of the internet, that was just dedicated Grandpa Joe hate.
Yep.
It's so fascinating to see that.
One of my favorites for this is, I think it was a Photoshop of a hand on Charlie's thing. It's like, this is Grandpa Joe. At their point, he got someone photoshopped him having a coke nail. And then they'll be like, look at this. This really is in the movie.
Yep.
And people believed it because Grandpa Joe's that much of just an awful person.
To be fair, it does make sense to call him an awful person because he's been in bed for, we assume,
20 years. Well, he said 20 years multiple times.
20 years. And yet, he doesn't go out and get a job but after Charlie wins the golden ticket, he jumps out of his bed and dances around and it's like, you asshole.
Yeah.
Family out in poverty.
And they're spending like a significant amount of money to give him tobacco.
Yep. I understand why people really might hate Grandpa Joe.
Yeah.
Other than that, the acting, I mean, like, the most well-known piece is obviously Gene Wilder.
Yeah, Gene Wilder's like the only good actor, I would say, in this movie.
Yep.
Everyone else is bad to medium.
Yep. Production.
Relatively good.
The production to me feels weird because the director, this is one of his actual first movie directing roles that he ever did.
I honestly believe that, yeah.
Because his experience was actually directing documentaries. And if you watch the movie, it makes sense.
Yeah, because, you can tell he's not very comfortable with sets.
Like,
you
for
can
example,
tell that,
like remember the sequence where we're just seeing like everybody wanting to get the golden ticket, like we're just seeing scene after scene of like say chocolate being transported all over the place.
Yep.
So it feels like it's being shot like a documentary. It doesn't feel like a movie in some instances. Actually, I want to go back to writing. This movie, there are some bits in this movie that I really laughed at.
Oh yeah, the cutaway jokes are amazing.
Like, I love the joke about the computer, and my favorite one is easily the wife and her husband being held hostage.
Yes, that's really
and they're like saying, and like the police are like saying, they want your entire supply of Wonka bars.
How long would they give me to think about it?
Those jokes are really
good cutaway jokes.
I love those cutaways.
Which I presume they were made for the movie. I don't presume those in the book.
I don't think they are, actually. I never read the book.
Yeah, I never read the book either. I was wanting to read the book for this, but I ran out of time. So.
Yeah. Oh, well. Other than that, though, like, the production-wise and whatnot, it's just really weird to watch it, and when you find out, like, the director is not experienced with doing movies, per se, he does more documentaries, it's like, makes a lot of sense, actually, because it doesn't feel like an actual movie shot-wise. Like, shooting-wise, it doesn't feel like a movie. But yeah, I can see his experience in documentaries and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing to note, because we're talking about production,
yes.
This is a deeply English movie.
Yeah.
It's written from a Rob Dahl, who himself is aggressively English.
Yeah.
And I mean aggressively.
I don't even know if they filmed, like, the entire city in England, because it doesn't look like England. It looks like Germany.
It could be, I don't know.
Or Austria or something like that. I think that's where they filmed it at. It was not in UK, for example. I think they filmed it outside in, like, somewhere in Europe.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't feel right.
I'm guessing this was, like, the veto by Rob Dahl. They tried to get every Englishism into this movie.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Which is just, like... I fully believe Rob Dahl strong-armed getting more Englishisms in this movie, because...
I wouldn't be shocked, in all honesty.
Honestly, the Englishisms do not work as much. They work sometimes, but sometimes they're just like, calm down.
I mean the humor for some parts.
Oh, the humor! I'm not talking about the humor.
Yeah,
but like...
Yeah, but like the actual, like, everything else, yeah, it feels like he's really trying to push hard for British-esque type shit.
Yeah, and the other thing to note, like, production and writing a bit here. This is mostly on Rob Dahl again. This is solely effing Western English speaking for everything here. Because we get one German kid. And then it's American, English, American, English.
Let's see, Veruca's English.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie feels like he's actually American, but living in Europe. Because I did not see any kind of, like, accent going on. And then the other kids are American.
Yeah. One's from effing Wisconsin or something like that, and the other's from Arizona.
Yeah, I think Mike's from...
Arizona. He's from Arizona, I know that.
Yeah, and
then
Violet's from...
Violet's from somewhere in the Midwest, I think.
Yeah, so. I think she's from Sheboygan, Sheboygan, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
What a weird city that is. Don't ever go there.
But, like... It's basically just like, okay, Rob Dahl just wanted to write about English kids and American kids.
Yep.
And then it was like one German kid to make fun of. Which is my other problem with Gus's Gloop. It's literally just making fun of him for no reason. He's the one German dude. But, like, the movie's showing the other thing that's wrong with the production, this is why I'm bringing it up in production, they show that this is a worldwide contest.
Yeah.
But yet...
There's a whole theory that some people have that Willy Wonka purposely chose who he wanted to win, because you had the supposed antagonist of the movie, Slugworth. He immediately shows up as these kids win.
Yeah.
So some people think, oh, he chose them purposely to win the contest.
Which in itself is a bit divine intervention to manage to control something that minutely.
Yeah. It's just weird.
Yeah.
The movie is very weird.
I would have loved to see this movie, well, this book in particular, than adapted to a movie, with a more diverse cast. Because then it would have been like actual world competition, and it would have been able to show that you see kids like this all around the world. Yep. This isn't just like a weird British thing.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because, like, imagine effing, like, instead of, like, Mike TV being, like, an American or whatever, him being from somewhere like Japan.
That would be interesting, actually.
Like, that works. That would have been an interesting thing to do.
I can't look over the fact if you made that idea. Mike TV being an obsessive kid on TV, and he constantly dresses up as, like, Goku, for example. That would be interesting, I will admit. That would be interesting.
But, like, I would have appreciated more diversity within it. This is one of the very few times I'm like, please, more diversity! More!
Less white, please.
Yes.
I understand that entirely.
Well, not even just less white, more culture.
Yeah.
Because, like, I would have even appreciated more Europe.
Eastern Europe would have been very interesting.
Like, just more Europe, like a French kid, even.
Oh, God, yeah.
Like, something, please!
Oh, man.
It's just American and England. Not even, like, Scotland. Just England. Just England! Just to show you how much Rob Dahl's aggressively English. He couldn't even do the rest of the British Isles. Just England.
I need to find a way to make a funny bit with just England. Anyway, anything else for the production?
No, not really. I guess the one thing I have to note is very iconic set with the candy room.
Yeah, I think that goes into design, though.
Yeah, so.
I mean, everything, like the entire design of the factory, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, like the lab room, for example, it's very minimal, and I honestly think that's like the weakest room out of everything. But
which room?
The lab room, the second room that they go into.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
Like they don't really. I could tell like they probably ran out of money in the budget to really go ham on it. Like that candy room was probably the biggest that they had to spend on.
Yeah. I can definitely tell that they did a lot in the candy room.
Yep.
So.
But the lab room. It's kind of minimal, but it's fine.
Within the factory itself.
Yes.
Because outside the factory, there's a bunch of forgettable sets.
Yep.
Weirdly enough, despite me like complaining so much about Augustus Gloop, he actually does have one of the better sets outside the factory.
Yeah.
With like the bit joke of the Anchorman having antlers and all that, so.
Yep. I like Willy Wonka's design.
Oh yeah, no, costuming?
Yeah, the
costuming's really good actually. I would say the costuming's really good in general.
Yep. Would you recommend this movie to people?
Yeah, I would say so. This is a pretty easy recommend.
Yeah, it's easy.
Like, there's a reason why this is, like, so many people have seen this.
Yeah. People really generally do love this movie a whole lot.
Oh, yeah.
I like this movie a whole lot, but I would say definitely it is not perfect.
Oh, God, no.
It is definitely a movie rough
This whole thing is movies that we really like that we acknowledge are not perfect. So, this whole episode.
Yep. Maybe I would say this movie, if I put on a rating, maybe a 7 or an 8 out of 10. I mean, I do have a nostalgia factor for it, but if I had to be realistic, it is a 7.
I would say like a 6 or a 7.
Yeah.
6 or a 7's pretty, like, yeah.
Yeah. Alright, so.
I enjoy it so, Probably closer to a 7 than a 6, though.
Yep.
So. The bit jokes drag it up there, but the rest of the movie's trying to kick and scream and going to 6.
I'm surprised we didn't mention probably one of the better jokes in the movie that isn't a cutaway. It's when Charlie is standing outside of the gates of the... and he's interrupted by a guy that's outside of the factory pushing a cart
filled with knives.
Yeah, he's like,
why is he here?
It's just so out of left field, and it's like, this is so funny. I kind of just look over. It's like, this is too good.
Old man pushing a cart of knives, speaking ominously at a 10-year-old.
No one ever goes in, and no one ever comes out.
The entire cart filled with knives. Why? Why is he here? Why did you write him?
I do not understand this movie sometimes.
Oh, but yes.
For next time.
That's this week's movies. What should they be watching for next week?
Another movie based off of a book.
Yes.
By a British man. Because you love the English so much.
I didn't choose Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
I didn't say that. I'm just saying you love the British so much that you also picked...
God, yeah, because I love the British, yeah.
I mean, your previous movie from this episode is also a British movie, technically. It is H.G. Wells' The Time Machine from 1963.
That is correct.
And then another movie from the 1960s, To Kill a Mockingbird.
Mm-hmm.
So one black and white movie and another one in color.
Yes, Technicolor.
Yay, Technicolor.
Which we just talked about one of our first Technicolor movies.
Yay.
And then we're going back into Technicolor again. So.
Woohoo, we're going back in time. Well, thank y'all for watching.